and gentlemen. I hope you too can feel it in the air tonight, as they say. I'm your host, Jackson Hester, and this is Vindication Sports. And I am in an exceptionally good mood this evening. It is September 29th, and we are officially, it's about 1:27 a.m. tonight, or I guess this morning, but we are on the playoff eve. You can taste that air. This is not any playoff game though. I hope that at some point these are good for historical context. But the NBA Finals will be played tomorrow night in September. Excuse me. We have an absolutely intriguing matchup in the Los Angeles Lakers that are very close to my heart right now, and the Miami Heat. And this has got a lot of interesting storylines to it, right? Anthony Davis's first trip to the finals, definitely Jimmy Butler's first trip to the finals. Was Jimmy's. He's probably been to a conference final before. I'm trying to think on what team though he would be on in a conference final. But it's interesting to see how he'll perform. Jimmy is one of the most clutch players in the NBA in my eyes. From the Heat, we also have Bam Adebayo, who's looking like a legit, top 2, top 3 center in the NBA, and that's pretty jaw dropping. I don't think most people had him really thought about in that range of players. But at this point, can you really put Joel Embiid ahead of him and really feel confident about that? I don't think you really can. I'm not sure. I understand Joel Embiid has tons of flashy moves and is extremely, potent on offense, but his defense is not to the same level as Bam. And it might be just kind of a minor increase what Bam's able to do, but I actually just think Bam's probably a more complete player and helps you win more games than Joel. Even though Joel is probably, clearly the better offensive player, the defense that you get from Bam is going to be probably better. I don't want to make this all about Bam Adebayo. I really love the guy. I think he's really good. I think he's a really versatile player, great passer, great shooter. He can dribble the ball. He'll play point center on you. He's definitely next level. Bam Adebayo is the guy that should have won Most Improved Player this year. He's clear All-Star. In my opinion, he should be first team All-NBA, first or second team All-NBA, just because of what he was able to do this year for the Miami Heat. Continuing to just kind of go down the list in my head. I'm an idiot, so I neglected to pull up an actual list. But next player I want to talk about is Duncan Robinson, or I like to call him Sir Duncan the Tall. He's an absolute baller. And, he was undrafted this year. I'm almost certain, or maybe he played some games in the G League. Out of nowhere guy. One of the best three-point shooters in the whole NBA. So they've got the Archers loaded up. That backcourt has got a lot of firepower between Jimmy Butler, who I think is an acceptable shooter and a really great shooter when it comes to the clutch time. Duncan Robinson, and then the next guy I want to talk about, not necessarily the best player on the team. Like I said, I'm just kind of going through it on the players that are really sticking out to me. Tyler Hero, who has been living up to his name. I was going to try to make the pun, but I think I don't even need to. It's kind of, the pun is implied. But he has really been an absolute star for the Miami Heat, especially in the last series against the Celtics. He was instrumental in Game 3, I believe, Game 3 or Game 4, where the Miami Heat were able to, beat them, and he had the most points by a rookie since like Magic Johnson or some insane sabermetric that doesn't really mean anything, but is kind of just a cool stat. But Tyler Hero, he's living up to his name. He's crossing people up. He's pulling up from 3. He's really, really a great player. I'm actually almost certain I'm going to do a redraft of the draft class that he was in, this most recent one, because it was just completely horrible and an absolute botch. And there's a lot of players who wish they drafted, Tyler Hero and Michael Porter Jr. way higher than they went. Funny thing, I actually had a bet with one of my roommates during the year Tyler Hero got drafted. that Tyler Hero was not going to go in the first round because I was just like, oh, it's just a dime a dozen shooter, right? Nah, little did I know. Little did I know that Miami just has apparently just amazing talent scouts. They've really put together a great team. They got Andre Iguodala. He's like the only Hall of Famer on this team, to be completely honest. And he is a borderline case. I would make the case for Andre Iguodala any day because I think then, the qualifications for a Hall of Famer or somebody you really can't tell the story of basketball without. And you can't tell the story of basketball without Andre Iguodala. It's impossible, especially now. I mean, he's really looking like, he's up there. He's in the Hall of Fame discussion for me because of, his contributions obviously to Golden State, but he also was an all-star in the 76ers, or in Philadelphia at the 76ers. He, was able to lead was it the Denver Nuggets? He led the Denver Nuggets? Or maybe it was the Utah Jazz? It was the one random team on a pretty deep playoff run. He's had a lot of great runs. He's been a great defender for many years. Won a Finals MVP. I would put him in the Hall of Fame. He's having a great season. He closed out the Celtics with the most points he's had since the Finals in 2019 or something like that, which is gorgeous from Andre. He really was not lying about just, kind of keeping it in the can. And what do you know? The LeBron James-Andre Iguodala matchup is back, baby. You missed it. Probably you didn't miss it, but here it is one more time for you. We'll see if that actually is a storyline that plays out. I would love to see it. Continuing to go down the list, though, just kind of in my head, I think Kelly Olynyk is on that team. He's just kind of a bench guy to absorb a bunch of BS minutes. After that, we got, I want to talk about Jay Crowder. He's just a good shooter, good 3-and-D guy, kind of. He's really great in a system. Miami's got a system. They've got a good defense. It's also a system defense. All of these players that I've listed they really come together to be something really great. Randomly, Solomon Hill got some minutes the other night. That was kind of nightmarish to me. I was kind of screaming. There's players like Derek Jones Jr., DJJ. That's all I know. Airplane mode. He's really kind of a crazy athletic guy. You can get off the bench. Oh man, they're dripping. I almost forgot about Goran Dragic, who's arguably the third best player on the team overall. He's just got a great package. He's got a really great handle, a really great shot, and a really, really intelligent mindset. He plays the ball. He plays the game the same way that Luka Doncic plays the game, very slow and methodical. He's nowhere near the player Luka is athletically or skills. But, the way he, handles the ball, the way he kind of makes you play at the weird, slow, off-kilter pace of a European man, he really does have that dad game, and he's, 30 years old, so it's finally kind of coming into his reservoir. Kyle Lowry has finally started to unlock the dad game. That's what won him a championship last year. He just finally accepted that he's just has to play cheese basketball, and it works because he's, 29 or whatever. Same thing applies here. Goran Dragic just hits one random 3 a game and gets a bunch of assists, and it's okay, this is annoying. I'm so much faster than this guy, but I can't pick his pocket because he just plays like a old aging European man. But that's enough, honestly, about the Heat players. But I will talk very briefly about their coach, who is not someone that I think deserves a brief amount of time because I think he's exceptional. Eric Spoelstra. What can you say? The man's a defensive genius. An offensive mastermind. He randomly has taken this team that did not even make the playoffs last year. Same thing with the Lakers, but they did not even make the playoffs last year. They only added Jimmy Butler, and I get it. They added a max player. He's a top 10 player now. Jimmy Butler, if you don't have Jimmy Butler in your top 10, I need you to take a real long look at yourself in the mirror. And I understand that top 10 gets real crowded, especially when you start talking about healthy players, but Jimmy Butler, you should find some space for him in there. In my opinion, it should be easy to find space for Jimmy Butler in that top 10. Maybe I will do a little list at some point in the future, but I think that's just cheese, non-quality BS. I don't really want to make a list. It's more exciting to really dive into my thoughts and all the factors and all the storylines that I think could develop here. But back to Eric Spoelstra. I mean, man, this guy has just done it all. He won multiple championships with the Heat, with LeBron and D Wade. And then look, now he manages to get this team back. No D Wade. Man, wouldn't this have been a better year for D Wade to retire? Damn. That's the one time you'll hear me curse in this video, though. But damn, there it is, the second time. Dwayne Wade really could have been in the NBA Finals this year and not really done too much, but it's okay. It's okay. We don't have to have every storyline we want. We don't need to have LeBron James versus Dwayne Wade in the 2020 Finals. It's okay. We just don't get to have that. It's cool. But Eric Spoelstra is LeBron's former coach, so that is the storyline here. The number one for me is this is the former coach. This is a former team for LeBron James. There's a lot of knowledge about the game, but it's like Ty Lue. He's got all that knowledge about LeBron James' game, but you just look at the clipboard and it's just like a picture of LeBron James and it's just an arrow straight to the basket. It's like, LeBron, do something. But that's kind of become LeBron's game. And hey, we're down to 7 games left, and LeBron has only played how many games in the postseason? Not many. Seriously, think about it. 5-game series? That's 15 games, all postseason for LeBron. How many miles does Jimmy Butler have on those tires? More than that, I would imagine. I'm trying to think. They beat their first opponent in 5. Maybe it was 4. I don't remember. Maybe I can look back at it. I may need to check this out, but LeBron's feeling rested. He only has 7 games to go maximum. LeBron can pull out. LeBron has 7 good games left in his career. This is literally what he's thinking, in my opinion. This is his chance to really move in on the GOAT argument. So I think he's thinking, hey, like if I tear my ACL and shoot 2 free throws, if I tear my Achilles and shoot 2 free throws to win the NBA Finals, that's cool with me. That's how I want my story to end. I'll just retire right there. I mean, he really needs a magic ending to this career. I mean, man, you can go for a lot bigger. I think he really needs a lot bigger to get past Jordan in the GOAT argument. I really think he's going to need a championship this year and next year. Eric Spoelstra knows this too. So, it'll be interesting to see who guards LeBron, who's going to be on him. If it's going to be Andre Iguodala, if it's going to be Jimmy Butler, if we're going to see a little Bam Adebayo action, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. Those guys are barbecue chicken. I hate to say it, but they can't guard LeBron James. The zone can't do that against LeBron James. Are you kidding me? You need 5 bodies and you need switches and you just need so much that you just don't have in a zone. LeBron James is one of the best kickers in the league as well. I know he's not kicking out to the best players. Rajon Rondo shooting the 3 and watching Katavius Caldwell break 3s in the finals is not going to be really fun. But at this point, we've kind of moved on from the Eric Spoelstra. I talked about him for a little bit, but the next thing I really need to get down to is, I guess, the Lakers. Well, I've already discussed him pretty, deeply in this video. He's intertwined with every single aspect of it. LeBron James is the man. There's no question about it. He's the number 1 player in the league still to this day. He's not playing the best in the finals, but hey man, scoreboard does not lie. LeBron James has not been pressed to really perform. In a couple games it was touch and go for a little bit, in a lot of games, but it's the playoffs. Every game's touch and go. But who always ends up on top somehow, and he's averaging probably almost near a triple double. Or somewhere in the range, He's averaging like probably his normal, probably 27, 7, and 7. That's his career stats. He's just LeBron James. It's what he does. And the finals are here. This is not 2011 anymore. I know he doesn't have the athleticism of 2011, but he for sure has the intelligence, has the grit, the experience. He's not going to be making these horrible, I'm scared mistakes. It's just not going to happen. I don't really think there needs to be much discussion about LeBron James. I think we all know and have a certain level of expectation for what he's going to bring to us in the finals. And, that expectation is nothing less than greatness. I don't think. I think if LeBron is bad in the finals and they lose, it'll be bad for his legacy. And if LeBron is bad in the finals and they win, it'll be bad for his legacy. And if LeBron James is good in the finals and they lose, it'll be bad for his legacy. So guess what? There's only one thing that LeBron James can do to not damage his legacy, and that's win the NBA Finals. No excuses. You have two Hall of Fame players, two clear first ballot Hall of Famers, two players that were selected number 1 overall in the draft, two players that are transcendent talents of their generations, super freaks, athletes like we haven't seen since Herschel Walker and Wilt Chamberlain. These guys are absolute. They're like the next level. They're like Spartans from Halo, and they're really going up against like average dude from the hood, Jimmy Butler, and it's like, whoa. Jimmy Butler might just have enough heart and soul and energy and desire to win and desire to be great and just everything that makes Jimmy Butler great, that just he's just kind of a regular dude. He's just chilling. I don't even know if he's from the street or whatever, but he's just like I don't know. Jimmy Butler's not LeBron James. He was not a first-round pick. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. Like, we all know who he is. We all know Jimmy Butler's about hard work. We all know Jimmy Butler's about, winning in the clutch time. And he's going up against two literal titans in his first appearance in the finals. I'm certain it's his first appearance in the finals. Against someone he's familiar with too, LeBron James. Eric Spoelstra's familiar with LeBron James. They're all intertwined with LeBron James. But hey, if we're gonna talk about one Saiyan, invading Earth, we got Nappa out of the way, the baldy LeBron James, and then we gotta talk about the true prince of the Lakers, the Vegeta, if you will, Anthony Davis. He's the inheritor. Like, all the kingdom of purple and gold belongs to him. The throne is his. LeBron is clearly trying to pass it down. And I don't blame him. If it's successful, if he can successfully pass it down and maintain decent stats, literally he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And it's going to be he's going to be the greatest. LeBron could be the greatest player of all time if Anthony Davis can successfully transition to that role, if he can really become the go-to guy in every situation where you always just dump the ball to Anthony Davis. Like, if Anthony Davis can become what Kevin Durant was a couple years ago, it's over, because LeBron is almost certainly going to be able to orchestrate an offense around him, and they're going to be getting better pieces this year and next year. So we'll just have to see kind of how all of that plays out. Especially with the next year, because I think that the team will likely be better in this coming year as opposed to this year. Right now, they don't really have the best pieces around them that they possibly could. I think there's a lot of better options out there, better things available, better pieces. So yeah, we'll just have to kind of see how that shakes out, to be honest, because the offseason can bring a lot of crazy things. And now I kind of want to talk about the others. One player that I will say is above the other kind of role. He's like one level above the others, as I'll describe them in a second. Rajon Rondo is absolutely integral to the winning of the Los Angeles Lakers. He allows LeBron James to get rest. Commentators make a note of this all the time, but I feel like it goes over a lot of people's heads just how important having LeBron James on the bench, and Rondo and AD can, they can do a lot of damage, because AD is everything Rondo wishes he was. Not everything he wishes he was. Everything he's not, you know what I mean? He can really score the ball. He can get inside really, really, really strongly. He can do just about anything here, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Anthony Davis really is one of the players that can complement a point guard like Rondo extremely well. And then I guess now I have to talk about the kind of depressing state of the others. The first other and the most disappointing person I have to mention in this role of the others is Kyle Kuzma. I had such high expectations for this man. I thought he was really about to be good, and he just never progressed after his rookie year was his best numbers. And it's just like, oh God, here you go. No. Then we're going to trade him and it'll be good, just because that's the curse of that kind of stuff. Brandon Ingram would be chef's kiss right now, but I guess he's the big asset. I just, yeah. And then the next person, the second most disappointing other, is Danny Green. We held all that salary because we didn't want to not have the money to sign Kawhi Leonard. And then it ends up all going to Danny Green. And it's like, okay, Danny Green's a premier role player, right? He's like, like a Robert Covington, JJ Redick, kind of guy. Like a premier role player, you know what I mean? He's like one of those guys, one of those pieces, like a Buddy Hield, just like a premier role player. Like a middle of the pack role player. Literally. Average defense, hits maybe 1 3 a game. It's so sad. He shoots a good percentage, but it's like he's just not aggressive because he's old, and his defense is good, kind of, but it's perimeter only, and on the interior, it's just he's Danny Green. You can't really leave him on the court for too long. And the next other, this one is just like whatever. KCP's always been an other, so I don't have any expectations for that man. He can kind of shoot. That's literally, it's so annoying. He can kind of shoot. And then the rest of the players in the finals, the rest of the team's literally like generic center here, Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee, and I'm trying to think of other just random the fill in the blank, Markieff Moore, we get the worst Morris twin too. Okay, whatever. And yeah, there's no one else that even needs to be mentioned here. I'm not gonna say his name. The Hennessy man himself, he's on the team. But, it really just comes down to, can LeBron James scale the mountain, and can he defeat this upstart Heat squad? Honestly, the Heat got a championship here. This would be a absolute monkey wrench in history. It wouldn't make any sense. In terms of, it would be cool. It's certainly happened before, but, the Heat, I guess they have a top 10 player. Their star is Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy Butler's no Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jimmy Butler is no Kawhi Leonard. Jimmy Butler is not LeBron James, Kevin Durant. He's not one of these guys that are absolutely on the next level. People that, the jaw droppers, as, many people want to, define them as. Jimmy Butler's just a guy who hit a big shot in your face in the championship round, or in a game 7. He'll do anything necessary to win. People always forget that if Kawhi Leonard didn't hit that absolute screamer, one of the best shots of all time in the corner to win that game against Philadelphia, that Jimmy Butler would have had a game winner in that game too. Jimmy Butler was supposed to have the game winner. I think it was a tie. I don't remember. I think that because I thought they were going to overtime, but Jimmy Butler hit that game tire. He thought it was a buzzer beater pretty much. 2 seconds left on the clock. It's whoa, Jimmy Butler hit the shot. And Kawhi Leonard absolutely takes the wind out of Philadelphia, and Jimmy is just, he's not been the same since. He's on one now. You can't, now he's mad. Now he's mad. So we'll have to see if he can make the gods bleed. Anthony Davis and LeBron James looking like very, very strong aliens from another planet looking to destroy Earth. And Jimmy Butler looking like a kind of a weak Goku, especially if the other people are supposed to be like the other, side cast members. They're just going to kind of not be able to guard Anthony Davis or LeBron James. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's kind of a battle. I hope it goes to 7 just because I'm a sports fan and I want a 7-game series because it's epic, and there's no better 3 words in sports than Finals Game 7. And I hope we get there. And I hope that the Lakers win because I'm a homer. Whatever. Anyway, I have been your host, Jackson Hester. Thank you very much for indulging me with your brain for a little while. I hope you come back and I can transfer some more of my ideas to your brain. But I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.